Unmasking the Legend of Ji Gong, Diamond Throne, Blind to Dust Motes. Welcome back to Unmasking the Legend of Ji Gong. Today, here is another story of his past. Ji Gong is an eccentric monk with a heart of gold. His arrival at Lingyin Temple is filled with intrigue and mischief. While there are several versions of the story, here's one that mainly captures his unconventional spirit. Imagine a young Ji Gong, not yet the revered monk we know, but a naughty teenager. In the past, at the Lingyin Temple, the abbot knew Ji Gong was an arhat taking a reincarnation in the mortal world to have a marry. He accepted to take Ji Gong as his disciple. He ordered an alms bowl for Ji Gong and selected an auspicious day for him to take the precepts and perform the shaving ritual to enable Ji Gong to become a monk in the temple. The abbot was a brilliant, high-ranking monk. When he saw Ji Gong's behavior was full of implications, he knew he had a successor and felt at ease. Time flew by. A few years have gone by. Suddenly, an official from the Linen district came to visit the abbot. The superior monk hurriedly invited him to the abbot's room and asked for the reason for his visit. The official said, "It is just that I am not as busy as usual today, and so I came to pay the abbot a visit." The abbot said, "Since the official has the time today, why don't we have a game of chess at the pavilion?" The official agreed, so they headed for the pavilion. Before the game was over, an attendant reported that the abbots from all other temples were there. Almost all together, another attendant reported that the royal officials had arrived and were waiting at the 16th sanctum. The abbot was surprised by the many visitors and asked, "Why is everybody here today?" The attendant replied, "It must be during the occasion last year when the abbot was performing a ceremony. The abbot declared that this time in the following year, the abbot will pass on." The various abbots and officers took it for real, so they are all here today. The abbot laughed, "I have not passed on. Why are they here?" The attendant said, "If the abbot is going to remain, why not send them all away?" The abbot considered for a while and said, "Since they are all here, how can I send them away?" The abbot turned to tell the official, "I must stop now, and I cannot accompany you." As he got up, he spilled the chessboard onto the floor and said, "Before the game is over, I am rushing to nirvana." The abbot went to his room, bathed, changed into his clean robe, and sat in the hall. At this time, all the monks and others crowded around the abbot, but there was no sign of Ji Gong. The abbot requested a search for Ji Gong, but there was no sign of him after an extensive search. The abbot said, "Since he cannot be found, it is all right. It is just that I do not have a successor, we must wait until he comes." The other monks said, "That is an order from the abbot, who dares to disobey?" The abbot continued, "One more thing. The person who lights the fire on me must be Ji Gong, and that must be strictly adhered to." After saying that, he closed his eyes to enter into nirvana. The situation saddened all the monks. Suddenly, a gold fur monkey, which the abbot had reared by the pavilion, hurried in, stared at the abbot's seat, circumambulated it 3 times, howled for a while, and passed away. The various monks were surprised at the sight and knew that the abbot had highly cultivated powers. There was still no sight of Ji Gong, and the monks discussed Ji Gong's ungratefulness, as the abbot had treated him well. They had no choice but to place the abbot's body into the cage. After waiting for 5 or 7 days, Ji Gong was still not back, and the monks could not wait any longer, so they had to carry the cage for burial. At that time, they saw Ji Gong humming away as he returned to the temple. The monks approached him and said, "How had your master treated you? Today, he has passed away, and we all have been waiting for you. We are now ready for the funeral, and we hope you will come to light the fire and don't run away again." Ji Gong laughed. The master had passed away, which is unavoidable. "What help would you all require of me? I can't cry. Since it is an order from the master for me to light the fire, I will surely do it. What are you all worrying about?" The funeral process began, and they stopped at the pavilion for burial and requested Ji Gong to light the fire. When Ji Gong was about to light the fire, he said, "Listen, everybody, I appreciate all the master has done for me. This fire marks our final farewell. From now on, our paths part." After saying that, he lit the fire, and the relics appeared like raindrops in the raging fire. The illusion of the abbot appeared and said, "Ji Gong, you can be frantic, but behave yourself at the temple." And then he said to the various monks, "Take care all of you." He disappeared after having said that. The monks were surprised as the vision was clear. Afterward, they all dispersed and told Ji Gong, "Now that the abbot is gone, there is no abbot at the temple. You are the appointed successor of the abbot, please behave and be decent to make the abbot proud." Upon hearing that, Ji Gong asked, "Who said I am not decent?" The monks said, "You are a monk, is it decent that you hum folk songs all over?" Ji Gong said, "The rhythm of the mountains and birds are harmonious, let alone a well-composed folk song. You all do not expect me to chant the sutra all day and consider that decent, are you?" The monks said, "You are a monk, and you are always mingling with the urchins and stray dogs. Is that decent?" Ji Gong said, "The urchins have their intelligence, and the stray dogs have their Buddhist nature. If I don't mingle with them, do you expect me to mingle with all of you in your robes?" All the monks kept quiet after seeing him behaving so frantically, except the supervisor, who said, "Let's talk about other things. The abbot had ordered you to take over from him his personal belongings, and you must obey, I have long kept them." Ji Gong said, "But what is the use of the robe and all such detached items to me?" The supervisor replied, "This is the strict order of the abbot, and you cannot disobey. If you do not want them, you must propose an alternative." Ji Gong said, "Since he ordered so, just bring them out and take a look." The supervisor told the attendants to open the box containing the personal objects and place it in front of Ji Gong. Ji Gong said, "Since these were the abbot's properties, everybody in the temple will get a share. Everyone must assemble to look together to be fair." The supervisor said, "The abbot leaves these behind to you, you just take them and don't show them to others." Ji Gong said, "Not my problem, just show everyone, and we will figure it out." So, all the monks were summoned to gather by the sound of the bell. When everyone was there, Ji Gong opened the box to let everyone take a look. Alas! They were gold and silver together with glittering jewels and jades. There was also a gorgeous monk robe, sutras, and other belongings and valuable objects. When the monks saw them, their eyes were wide open with envy, but since the abbot had left them all to Ji Gong, their desires were unspoken. "Oh! All those objects," the supervisor said to Ji Gong, "Ji Gong, I have something to say on your behalf, everybody, please listen. Ji Gong, the objects the abbot gave you, if you do not want them, leave them for the next abbot's room for general use, or we will share it all." The supervisor instructed. Ji Gong replied, "What is the use of keeping them? The new abbot will have his own. If they are to be shared by all monks, there is no need to distribute, let them all help themselves, it is more interesting that way." When the monks heard that they could help themselves with the contents, they rushed and elbowed each other for the treasures, with some falling on the floor and getting stomped on. When Ji Gong saw that those who got the most were swollen in their foreheads, he laughed heartily. Before long, the box was emptied. Ji Gong said, "I am glad, rather than keeping such objects here with me and becoming a talking stock of others." After that, Ji Gong began to move away frantically to have a merry time. The favor from Ji Gong is excellent in helping people experiencing poverty, and justice will always stay in the hearts of others. Ji Gong became famous because he drew a clear distinction between good and evil and was dedicated to helping people in need to ensure a peaceful and harmonious society. Out of his excellent nature, 4 aspects were highly regarded by the people. After a lifetime of guiding others, Ji Gong embarks on his journey of self-discovery. His path leads him to unexpected revelations and, ultimately, the wisdom he has always sought within. Ji Gong's final act of kindness ripples outward, touching countless lives and leaving a legacy of love and acceptance. Thanks for joining me on this journey to unmasking the legend of Ji Gong, the Diamond Throne, and Blind to Dust Motes. I explored some of his fascinating stories, but the mysteries continued. If you're curious to learn more, check out my next video, and let me know what you think of the stories in the comments. Thank you.